What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Hangout Spot where you already know it's real talk, boxing talk, live from my man cave. It's your boy Johnny, and we are going to attempt to talk about the pathetic and hapless Jets in just a moment. But before I get started, I just want to say thank you to all my followers, all my subscribers. This past week, we reached 750 subscribers. That's 3/4 of the way to 1,000. That is my goal, and we've done that in less than a full calendar year. And this week, we also reached 250,000 views. That's 250,000 views in the same time frame. I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for my people out there, my followers, my subscribers, the people that are out there supporting the channel. So I just want to say I appreciate that, and I appreciate each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart, which is something I cannot say about the Jets. This is a team and a franchise that I no longer appreciate. In fact, it's a team and a franchise that realistically I no longer want to root for, man. What we've been seeing this year has been flat out horrendous, pathetic. And today, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it got worse. We were going into this game 2-5. You would think that going up against the hapless Patriots, the 1-6 Patriots, one of the worst teams in football, a team that we dominated week 3, you would think that maybe this is a game that we can attempt to get right. Another week of practice with Davante Adams in the offense, and Hassan Reddick actually was set to make his debut with the Jets this week as well. You knew, or you kind of figured, if he made the trip and he was going to play, maybe it would provide the defense some kind of a spark. This has been a defense that has been struggling to get to the passer, rushing 4 guys. But then the game started, and in typical Jet fashion, we start slow, we look disoriented. In fact, the Jets did something, and this is usually what the Jets do every week. They usually do something that you've never seen any other team in the NFL do. This week, in the first quarter, they happened to kill every single one of their timeouts in the first quarter. Actually, 2 in the same drive, and I don't even think they scored in that drive. 2 timeouts they had to burn in one drive in the first quarter because they could not get the play call in on time. They could not get set on time. And instead of getting a delay of game penalty, they end up taking the timeouts. And this has been a problem that has been going on all season. When is it going to stop? I mean, this team should change their name to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus because they're a bunch of clowns, okay? A bunch of clowns. Just when you think that maybe getting rid of Salah would provide a spark to this team, it's the same garbage every single week. They lose to the Patriots today. Yeah, let that sink in. 25-22. Because after we took a 22-17 lead, we could not convert on a two-point conversion. And why? Because we were moved back. Yes, you got it, because of a delay of game penalty before we were able to get the 2-point conversion off. That's how pathetic this team is, right? So we go in, 5-point lead. We give the Patriots the ball, probably 3.5 minutes, who knows. But remember, this is a defense that most fans consider a top defense, right? I don't care what the numbers say. It's just what I said weeks and weeks ago. If I come across a fan face to face that happens to tell me that this defense is a top defense, he's getting punched right in the mouth. Straight up. This defense is not a top defense. You can't consider a defense a top defense if they can't consistently rush the passer. And again, today, the Patriots had time all over the place, even with Hassan Reddick in there. They don't generate turnovers. And they can't stop a nosebleed on 3rd down, or especially in a critical part in the game where they need a stop. All they needed was one stop. And I was in a chat group with my Jet buddies, and we said it. Once the Patriots got the ball back with 3.5 minutes or whatever it was, you had the feeling that they were going to drive down the field and either score easily or we were going to help them with unnecessary penalties. We didn't even need to help them. They just drove down the field, okay? Big play after big play, one on Sauce Gardner, and that's another one. That's another guy that if someone tells me he's one of the best corners in football, I'll lose it, man. Sauce Gardner, and I was a fan of Sauce Gardner coming into the season, but you got to keep it real, okay? He's been exposed this year. He is severely overrated. There is an issue with his technique, with his footwork. He got turned around on that last pass play down the field. I don't even know the name of the wide receiver that caught that. But Jacoby Brissett, to his credit, comes in, throws a dime. Actually, he was throwing some dimes today. The Patriots dropped a ton of passes. They must have dropped at least 2 critical third downs, and we still couldn't beat them. The Patriots were begging the Jets to beat them, and we were saying, nah, we're good. You guys can have it. I mean, this is absolutely insane. So back to Sauce Gardner. Not only can't he tackle, but now he can't cover, and they're throwing the ball to him. Maybe this is something that we would have seen in his first 2 seasons. But remember, they weren't really throwing it on his side of the field. Now they are, and he's being exposed. So again, Sauce, this defense, extremely overrated. They're not a top defense at all. They're a solid defense, but they're definitely nothing near a championship caliber defense. They could not stop the Patriots on that last drive. The Patriots end up scoring a touchdown on a running play, and then they get an easy 2-point conversion to go up by 3. We had the ball back with 25 seconds or whatnot, and you already know the story on that. We could not get, a play down the field and get set up in time to be able to spike it. But at that point in time, what did it even matter? We probably have the worst field goal kicker in the league. And the crazy part about it is we had the worst field goal kicker in the league 3 weeks ago, and he's still on the team. This is why it is difficult to root for this franchise. They are polluted from the core, from the top on down. This is an issue with management. Like, why would you have a kicker on your team who has clearly missed key kicks the entire season from the preseason? I don't care what he did last year or the year before that. You got to play every season on a year-to-year basis. This was supposed to be a must-win season with a roster that realistically any head coach that was credible in the league would turn into a contending team. But no. This is the most underachieving roster, the most underachieving team I think I've ever seen in the history of football. Definitely in the history of the Jets. And that says a lot because we've had a lot of pathetic teams. But at the end of the day, this is just ridiculous, man. Zuerlein misses another extra point and a field goal. Those are 4 points left on the table. If we had those 4 points, we win this game by a point. Now, by no means should this game have been as close as it was. This game should have been a microcosm of what happened week 3 when we blew them out at home. But no, of course not. You knew the Patriots were going to come to play, and you knew that we were going to fall under the pressure because the Jets are the type of team, like a boxer that has no heart. Once he gets hit, he has no heart and determination to come back and hit back. Once we get hit, we fold like a deck of cards. This is who we are as a franchise. And again, that starts from the top on down. This is just absolutely, absolutely pathetic, okay? In a league where you have multiple free agent kickers out there, just bring somebody else in that can be at least somewhat reliable on extra points. It's gotten to the point where we just want a guy that can hit an extra point. Not even counting a field goal. There's got to be guys out there that are better, but of course, they're not bringing anybody in to give this guy competition. It's clear that Greg Zuerlein is broken. He is broken. He's been bad since the preseason. And with kickers, that's their only job. He's pressing. Now it's getting to him mentally. You got to relieve him of his duties. You owe it to the rest of the team. How do you go out there, Olbrich? How do you go in there, after the game, during the week and address the team, and tell them that you're doing whatever it is to put them in a good position to win. Meanwhile, you're trotting out there a kicker that can't make a kick. And I hate to be this guy that just downs the kicker, right? Because there's a lot of other things that went wrong, but let's call it what it is, man. The Jets would have won 2 games this season if this guy just would have done his job. He only has one job to do, and that's kick the football. But again, it's up to the franchise to see that this guy just isn't right for whatever reason it is. And they got to pull the plug, and they got to get somebody out there that gives them a better chance to make field goals to potentially win games. Now at 2-6, the season is officially over. And remember when I told you a few weeks ago, remember when the Jets were 2-2, and I said there's a realistic chance that we'll be looking at the Jets after the next 3 weeks. They'll be 2-5. I said that. It happened. I didn't think they'd be 2-6, but here we are, 2-6. Is the season? Is it still early? For those optimistic Jet fans, is it still too early? For those Robert Saleh people, because if Robert Saleh was here, that's what he would have probably said in his post-game presser. It's still early. We got time to turn this around. Ladies and gentlemen, at 2-6, the season is over. And it's sad because this roster could win if they had the right chef to mix those ingredients all together to make a gourmet meal. That's where this season went downhill, when you chose to bring this piss-poor coaching staff back. And I'm not just talking about Saleh. I'm talking about the offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach, even Ulbrich. And I feel bad for Ulbrich because he's being put in a tough situation. He's never been a head coach in this league. And you're asking him to turn around an underachieving team, which realistically, I don't know if he even knows how to turn it around. He's tried to press the right buttons by putting Todd Downing as the offensive coordinator, the play caller. And as decent as the offense has looked at times the last couple of weeks, it's still very inefficient, very out of sync. Everything that the Jets do on offense seems hard. It's just, they can't get a play call in on time without running the risk every week, at least 3 or 4 times of a delay of game. This is ridiculous, man. This is totally ridiculous. It's like you see college teams, that are more in sync, more efficient than an NFL team. Again, this season was lost before it even started. It was, and it's a shame because now at 2-6, the season's over in a year that I thought would be very, very winnable as far as the division. Now it's over. And then what happens now? What do we got to look forward to? Aaron Rodgers, he showed some flashes again today. Where do we go from here? Do you think he's want to come back at 41, going on 42 next year with a new GM and a new coaching staff that realistically, if they come here, they're going to want to rebuild this thing from the ground up? So this 1 year of us having to go all in to try to make it all work, down the tubes. Down the tubes. Because a lot of these young core guys, these foundational guys, they're not going to be here long term. Garrett Wilson's not going to be here long term. No way. You could tell. You could tell in his demeanor before last week, before the week before that, after last week's game. The losing it's hard. It's hard to wrap your arms around, especially when you come from a college program that is used to winning. The Buckeyes, the Ohio State Buckeyes, are used to winning. Breece Hall, you think he's going to want to come back here? Sauce Gardner, I could care less if he leaves, but let's say hypothetically he turns things around. Do you think he's going to want to spend the rest of his career here in purgatory? This franchise is poison. They're cursed. And I don't know what's going to fix it. I mean, we could sit here and say that if Woody Johnson sells the team, maybe it fixes it. I don't know. Who knows? We'd have to have an owner that comes in here that is really passionate about the New York Jets and is passionate about winning, not just passionate about filling their pockets. But anyway, I say that, I don't even know why I say that, because there's no rumor, there's nothing to sniff at that Woody Johnson is interested in selling this team. So he's going to be the owner from here on out. So what happens next? You fire the offensive staff, you fire the GM. As Jet fans, let's call it what it is. Are we really confident in Woody Johnson? Are we really confident that he's going to hire the right GM next year? That's going to hire the right coach to turn this thing around? Do we even want to sit through another rebuild? Who's going to be the quarterback? This is it's horrible, man. It's horrible. I don't even want to waste my time doing Jet videos anymore. This is a channel that I started. And I didn't intentionally start it because I wanted to get subscribers and viewers because of rants. But that's what it became in the beginning. Now it's taken off with boxing. And that's what I'm sticking to, man, because boxing is my bread and butter. Boxing never disappoints me like the Jets do. The Jets are a losing franchise. And personally, I don't consider myself a losing person. So why should I root for a loser when I'm not a loser in life? What is loyalty to a football team or any sports franchise for that matter? What does it do for a person when they don't give that loyalty back? What does it do? I'm going to be loyal to the things that matter to me the most, not this team. This is absolutely preposterous. It's disgusting. It's terrible. And enough is enough. This is years and years of the same bullshit. It doesn't matter who's calling plays. It doesn't matter who puts a uniform on. It doesn't matter who quarterbacks. It doesn't matter who's a receiver. It doesn't matter who's the defense. This is what we're going to see every single year, an underachieving and embarrassing franchise that in realistic fashion shouldn't even be in the NFL. Shouldn't even be in the NFL. I think it's embarrassing not only that they are in the NFL, but they share a stadium with another team. Like, go get your own identity. Like, this to me is another part of the problem. I don't know what to say. Like I said, man, I apologize for the rant. My Jet fan buddies, man, listen, I told you weeks ago, I try to be the guy that's honest, and then I end up coming across as the negative guy. Well, at the end of the day, I'm always going to keep it real. I'm always going to keep it real. This team is trash from the owner on down, and things are never, ever going to change, more than likely in our lifetime, unless changes are made from the top. Unless we had an owner that comes in here, like I said, and buys this franchise and is passionate about the fan base, passionate about winning. Maybe that person is a Jet fan himself. Things are not going to change here. Things are not going to change. Anyhow, this Thursday, yet another nationally televised game on TV where nobody else in football is playing but the Jets. They will embarrass themselves because they are playing the Houston Texans. And the Houston Texans are for real. And it's fitting that it's going to be on Halloween because it's going to be a horror show. It's going to be an absolute horror show. The Jets are going to be 2-7 after that. And then, in my opinion, guys should just axe out. Aaron Rodgers should just retire. Call it a career. There's no reason for him to have to go out there and play for no reason at all at his age and run the risk of getting seriously injured that will affect him post-retirement. There's no reason for it. There's absolutely no reason for it. And for the people that thought that Devontae Adams was going to come in here and fix the offense, how's that working out for you? Didn't I tell you that this team is rooted with problems beyond just one player? Hassan Reddick, right? We get him in the building. Things will change on defense. We'll be able to get some sacks. We'll be able to put some pressure. For one game, at least, it did not work. I didn't see Hassan Reddick sniff the quarterback today. It brings me back to this. The Jets are the franchise that is used to putting lipstick on a pig to cover up the real problems, right? Just to keep the fan base, from chirping. That's what they want to do. They just want to keep the fan base from chirping. They did it last year by bringing in, weeks after the fan base were ranting about why don't we have a backup quarterback to put in there because Zach Wilson is no good. They just went out there and they picked up Trevor Siemian just to quiet the fan base. That didn't work out. This year again, they're picking up these guys to quiet the fan base. But it's not going to work. Okay, it's not going to work. When a person smells, they got to take a shower. They can't just put deodorant or cologne on to hide the stench. That's not the problem. The Jets are that person that smells. Okay, and they need to shower, not continuously put deodorant and perfume, to hide the stench. So I knew none of that was going to work. But when I said it, like I said, I was called negative. Well, guess what? What am I being called now when I predicted that this was going to happen? Even before the season and especially after they were 2-2. Listen, I hate to be right. I didn't want to be right. When I say stuff like that, the true intention is I want to be wrong. But more so than often, I know this franchise like the back of my hand. I knew I was going to be right. Lost season. And here we are as a fan base. This is what we're resulting to. Ranting, raving, and being miserable and watching everybody else's team, do well, but we're still down in the dumps because there's no sense of urgency here. There's no sense of urgency. We saw it last year. There was no sense of urgency to get a backup quarterback to salvage the season. And this year, there's no sense of urgency to even get a kicker, a competent kicker to kick an extra point and a damn field goal. Anyway, if you want to let me know your thoughts, you can. I'm just done with this team. I'm done with this franchise. I'm done talking about them. Please, if you're new to watching my videos, subscribe. There's a lot of cool boxing content, live shows, interviews, dope shit, not this crappy shit. So if you're a boxing fan, subscribe. If you're a Jet fan, I don't know what to tell you, man. But anyhow, again, for my supporters and my followers and my subscribers, I certainly appreciate you. This is your boy Johnny signing out from the Hangout Spot, and I'll talk to everybody soon.